Walmart and Amazon is looking into incorporating stablecoin into their service. And when that article came out, Visa and MasterCard share price tanked. They went down like 5%. Hasn't really recovered that much since then. Opens the doors for distributors, retailers who's been looking to incorporate stablecoin technology into their platform.
This material is for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide accounting, legal, or tax advice, or investment recommendations, or an official statement of Presto or its affiliates.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Presto Research Podcast. Today, I have Rick and Peter. What's up, guys?
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, so, Rick, I think today we want to start out with Rick talking about James Wynn, which is the legendary main character of CT at the moment. I think he's not the main character right now. He was the main character a few weeks ago because he, basically long Bitcoin with a notional position of $1.27 billion, which is crazy, using 40x leverage on Hyperliquid. And now this created a lot of discussion on like how Hyperliquid is so good actually, and how, you know, people like this guy can just gamble this amount of money and how he can also lose this amount of money. In 8 days, he basically gambled like, I don't know, 40 million. How much did he gamble? Anyways, his notional size was 1.27 billion and he had a 94% drawdown in 8 days. And he seems like unfazed about this. I tried to give the listeners a short introduction to who James Wynn is and what he has done.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, he's kind of no longer the main character. And I feel like he disappeared as quickly as he became the main character. But in probably throughout May, everyone's priority was seeing how James Wynn's position was doing and tracking James Wynn's Hyperliquid positions, or specifically his Bitcoin perp position. He kind of started out as a meme coin trader, supposedly turned 7K into 25 million on Pepe. So there was a time when meme coins were the main thing, and that created a lot of meme coin experts, and I guess he was one of them. But it was more in late April, early May that he started becoming known as like a whale, and quite unhinged in how much he was flipping and how short his holding periods were, given the size. And the takeaways from the story was what his loss seemed to be a win for Hyperliquid, as it was a good test of a decentralized platform, decentralized exchange. While Wynn lost quite a bit of money, a lot of good attention went to Hyperliquid in its ability to absorb all that liquidity. It was a good stress test. Wynn wasn't liquidated, but he was able to exit and enter his like massive positions very smoothly with hardly any market impact. So yeah, win for Hyperliquid again.
So my question when I first heard about his name was like, how did he suddenly became like attention grabber? Is it because of the large position that everybody was able to see on Hyperliquid? And is that somebody noticed and start tweeting about his position? Is that how it came about?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think among the meme coin circles, he was somewhat known already, but he joined, you can see his Twitter is April 2023. So that was when, you know, people were punting meme coins and things were going to the moon. But to come to the forefront of CT was people monitoring Hyperliquid's positions, and he had you could be anonymous or you could have a username. You can set your own username, and he set his username to James Wynn. So people started noticing his big positions as he built it up, and he was posting pretty aggressively.
Okay. So he was like, as he became more prominent, like he started giving stories about his or his positions basically on Twitter.
Yeah, he was mega confident, which I don't know, maybe he regrets now because he's posting shitcoin every day. So, and he was asking for donations. So perhaps his confidence was a little bit misguided, but it was cool to see nonetheless. And I think it was interesting culture-wise. It seemed like a lot of people wanted him to win, whereas in past main character arcs, I feel like people were kind of preying on the downfall of the main character, but people seem to be more interested in how Hyperliquid would perform under different scenarios, and a lot of smart people gave their thoughts on it. Turned out to be everything was smooth, everything was fine, except for James Wynn's net worth.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been, reading about like how Hyperliquid was so good during this whole debacle and like this whole thing. And can you just tell us like what Hyperliquid did well during this whole saga?
Yeah, I think there's two things. It's Hyperliquid itself, and then all the liquidity providers in that Bitcoin market. Previously, I think what you would have seen is fear of liquidation cascades. So market makers pulling their prices out of the order books. Because if positions are on chain, even if they're on centralized exchanges, not on chain and just rumored to be there's all this culture of liquidation hunting, like stop hunting. And it was clear on Hyperliquid, you can connect the wallet as if you're James Wynn. So you can't trade as him, but you can see your positions and your liquidation and your P&L, etc. And so you could see where his liquidation was in real time, but there didn't seem to be, despite what he claims, malicious market making tactics. And I think that comes from, so you can praise market makers there, or you can also say that probably comes from a confidence in the platform. And I think maybe it's a bit of both, but if it's the latter, it's kudos to Hyperliquid. And I have in the report when he exited the position. So he is a bit nutty. So he put on the 1.269 billion, so 1.27 billion position. He held it for 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 34 seconds. And then he sold a bit of Bitcoin, and then he put back on some Bitcoin again to build his position to be 1.21 billion. So not back at the same size for 47 minutes. And then, he started exiting it. Oh no, sorry. He put that on for 2 hours and he started exiting it. He sold 1.21 billion notional in 47 minutes. And if you look at figure 5 shows how his fills on Hyperliquid, the difference or the deviation from an average Bitcoin price of a few other centralized exchanges, chosen as like the most liquid Bitcoin markets. And the deviation is not that significant. His worst fill seemed to be 33.8 basis points away from the rest of the market, which, to put into perspective, Coinbase's taker fees start at 60 basis points and Binance and Bybit start at 10 basis points. So from a trading fee perspective, a 33 deviation for I think his order was like $10 to $11 million. He just hit the market, which is kind of crazy. It was absorbed really well. So I think the market maker thing is notable, as well as the confidence the market makers had in Hyperliquid.
Do you think that having all these positions like open to the public is a good thing? Because to me, like looking at all this, it seems like, we call these people hunters or whatever, like whale killers, whatever, and they try to liquidate this guy. And, there's like this whole piece from Jeff from Hyperliquid saying how transparency is good. Do you agree with his opinion?
Yeah, I remember his big tweet. I can't remember all the details, but it brought up a lot of points I hadn't considered before. So I was very 50-50 on this. He swayed me towards his side quite a bit, but I do think there's a segment of the market where transparency is beneficial, and there's another segment where it's not. So these large trades from a punter, maybe it's okay. But if we think about a different scenario, it could be a similar one where James Wynn's other wallets were identified, and he had massive loans on other platforms, and there was more of an embedded leverage, not just leverage within his Bitcoin position, but embedded leverage caused by him throughout different platforms. Or you can think of the 2022 bear market situation where there were companies in this scenario. If there were malicious actors and ways to profit from a liquidation, or not just his positions, but loans elsewhere, you can imagine that transparency is probably not so good. Now, it's a bit chicken and the egg, I guess, because you can also say if everything was transparent, maybe you'd be more careful and you'd start de-risking sooner. But I think there's a place but in the same way, there's a place for institutionalized crypto where things are on private blockchains and whatever, like that will exist. And there's also a place for public blockchains. And I think both is necessary.
What are your thoughts on the allegations that he is a hyperliquid marketing tool?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think people feel like these are. So go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to say if he was, it probably would have been done a little bit better. And he wouldn't be like a meme coin shiller now if he was. So I feel like they would have done a better job of using a marketer.
Yeah, I don't think it's a marketer. I think it's the typical post-narrative construction where, with the benefit of hindsight, people are just putting together a story like that because I guess, because as a result of this saga, everybody's now talking about hyperliquid, and so people just coming up with the story. But because there's no way that somebody could have, intentionally have a series of successful trades like that until they reach $1 billion and then lose everything. I don't think it was a well constructed script, if that's what they are arguing.
Yeah. It seems like, he's not a hyperliquid marketing guy, but one thing for sure that he has turned into a news account, and he's been posting like these wild headlines, and he's now a geopolitical analyst. So it's a win for James Wynn. Now he can monetize his content. He doesn't need to trade anymore.
Yeah, but that is a very expensive price to pay to get a
marketing strategy.
Yeah, whatever how many followers he has, I don't know. How many followers do they have?
30K.
How much?
He has like
376.
Yeah, 376.
Yeah. All right. So divide 1 billion by that, and whatever number you get, that's the cost of your acquisition for your followers. Right? It's like what is it? $30,000? No, more than 30,000, right?
Well, it's not that much if you compare to airdrop strategies. Like usual acquisition is like 5,000 per head for airdrop. So this guy's done it like in a fairly good price. So not mad. Okay, so I think we should now talk about another crazy story where Tron is now doing the same playbook as Bitcoin treasury strategy companies. They reverse merged with this company called SRM Entertainment. And I think, Peter, you want to cover this topic?
Yeah. So as unless you've been living under the rock, that there has been an explosion of so-called crypto treasury companies or digital asset treasury companies or whatever you call it, i.e. basically the copycats of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin treasury operation. But it's happening in many shapes and forms. So now companies are, MicroStrategy is originally a software company. So it's a company with legit business originally. But now what's happening is people want to create just a paper company, just doing the crypto asset treasury operation without any underlying business. And that's why you're seeing these reverse merger and SPAC transactions and things like that. So it's been happening originally mostly in Bitcoin, and then more recently with other types of crypto assets involving, I think the first one was the Solana, but then now we have Ethereum, we have even XRP, and now I think when was it 2 days ago that none other than Justin Sun also came up with his the Tron version of this operation. So now it's really interesting, right? Like this universe is expanding to include different types of assets. But I think with this particular transaction, Tron transaction, I think there are a couple of interesting takeaways. One is the Tron is a blockchain from China, right, with a Chinese origin. They could have gone to maybe Hong Kong exchange for this operation, but they didn't. They went with the US, which I think was the right decision. And I think there's a lesson in that. And a lesson is that for these treasury operation to be successful, what you need is also very sophisticated and well-functioning public capital markets with depth and breadth, supported by sophisticated institutional investors. No one can match that. No other markets around the world can match that with the US. So I think in that regard, Justin, I think he understands. I think he's actually much smarter than most people kind of think about him, because he has, this controversial kind of figure, and not many people, his reputation is not the greatest. But I think he's actually a very smart guy and understands what's necessary for the treasury operation to work. So that's why he went with the US listing. Second thing is, and I think it's more interesting, is the fact that this is the first time a project leader is listed and acting as a treasury operator. So let's just step back and think about Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin doesn't have any notable project leader. Maybe Blockstream. There are a few other companies, but they're not really that big, right? They're not there are many different companies in Bitcoin space. Ethereum would be consensus, right? But that they didn't list themselves. In fact, they decided to go with another company. They seeded what's the name? The something gaming, SharpLink Gaming. I think that's the name. They decided.
Yeah,
they decided
like that.
They decided to create another vehicle just for the purpose of Ethereum treasury operation. So they're not doing it directly with the consensus. Now, with this merger, now it's not clear which entity of a Tron group is actually doing the reverse merger with the SRM Entertainment, but it's probably one of the main Tron affiliates that's involved in Tron building Tron blockchain. And if that's the case, then this is the first time that a blockchain leader actually becomes a treasury operator, meaning that they will buy and hold the TRX, the asset, TRX. The reason why this is interesting is traditional model in the blockchain business is, you have these companies and these foundations, and usually both foundation and these companies, usually something labs, right? They usually get allocated. They pre-mine the coins, and then they shield their project. And as the price goes up, they slowly unload their holdings into the market, and that's how they generate cash in order to either fund their project, but in a lot of cases, just cash out and leave, right? That's the kind of how the blockchain industry has been operating for the last few years. Now, if the Tron becomes a treasury management company, like a MicroStrategy, they will actually have to, instead of selling, they'll have to do the reverse. They will be actually issuing equities and convertible bonds to accumulate, not sell, but accumulate TRX. So this is complete, like a reversal of the common kind of the playbook that the most blockchain projects has been operating under. So that's very interesting. This would be equivalent of like a Ripple, like a Ripple actually buying XRP in the market. As you know, Ripple has been actually selling XRP in the market because Ripple doesn't really have any other very successful business. only way for them to generate cash is by selling their huge XRP holdings. They hold like half of the supply, I think. And that's how they pay themselves. Like, that's how they fund their operation and pay salaries and so forth. They've been, over the last many, many years, they've been, selling XRP in the market on a regular basis. But imagine Ripple actually becomes a treasury operator. They list themselves and then issue convertible bonds and buy XRP. So that's exactly what Tron is doing here, I think. So this is why I think it's quite interesting development. We'll see what happens. But I think, unlike many other, I'm not here to shield Justin Sun or anything, but unlike many other projects where founders just cash out after maybe making 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, who knows, and they just leave, walk away, and enjoy their lives and whatever. Justin has already made it there. He's a billionaire. But what he's doing here is it seems like he's genuinely interested in building something here, and maybe that's why he's doing this. I never met the guy, so I don't know, but that's what he seems to be doing here.
What if the purpose of this is to create an illusion that he's buying Tron and make the market react to news that the Treasury's buying some things, and he unloads his TRX on his exchanges that he owns, which doesn't has any on-chain, transactions left.
Yeah. I mean, that's also very possible. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm just, speculating. But I mean, you are right. You're absolutely right. I think when this listed vehicle buys TRX, they are basically will be buying using the proceeds that they raise from the public capital market by issuing convertible bonds or equities. So there, Justin would not be spending his own money to buy TRX. There is spending other people's money to buy TRX. So I'm not trying to paint a very rosy nice picture of Justin Sun, but for this operation to work, people will actually have to believe that this TRX, the asset, and the Tron network is a viable network over the long run. Otherwise, this I don't think is going to work over the long run. And I think Justin might have started out as to make a short-term quick profit initially, but he ended up creating this huge network where the stablecoin is actually very actively transacted. So maybe he woke up and wants to do something more meaningful here.
Because there's on the timeline, a lot of people are speculating that since Trump came into office, the SEC stopped their probe against Tron, and then suddenly Justin Sun, he's like the biggest holder of the Trump coin, and he attends a dinner, and now he gets to do this thing. Yeah. And I'm hearing things that, this is such corruption. It's like cronyism. It's he's just it's like a pay to win type of environment here. How do we even adjust to it? This, it seems ridiculous to a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any defense against that. I think, in fact, I think I'm generally a supporter of what Trump is doing in the crypto space. But one thing that I wish he didn't do was get his family involved so deeply with a lot of different crypto projects, because it unnecessarily gives attack vector for his political opponents to attack him and slow things down, right? So, the reason why, I guess the next topic, we're going to talk about Genius Act, but the reason why Genius Act, which it should really be in a simple bill to pass, it took a long time to win the votes. And that reason for that is because it gave the Democrats a excuse to attack them, right? So that kind of thing, could have been avoided if the Trump didn't get his family involved in various crypto projects. But, what can I say? That's what happened here. So maybe that's a good segue to talk about the next topic then, I guess, which is the Genius Act, right? Yeah. So, I think the news came out this morning. So the Senate finally passed Genius Act. I think the vote itself, maybe not a surprise, because I think we we overcame the more challenging, I think, the kind of a landmark, which was a cloture vote a few weeks ago. So, I mean, but it's always good to see that it officially finally got passed. And this is not a done deal. It still needs to go through the House. And then Trump will have to, approve it, before it gets officially enacted. So it won't officially become enacted until, August or September. So, still it's still not a done deal, but, I think, with Senate passing it and, House also working on their version of the stablecoin bill. I think what will happen is these two will the Stable Act and the Genius Act will kind of converge, and then we'll come up with one stablecoin bill. What it will do, I think, is opens the doors for many of the distributors, retailers who's been looking to incorporate stablecoin technology into their platform. And I think they've been waiting for these legislations to become official before they actually actively go out and offer services using stablecoin. But I think they've been kind of secretly been studying this technology and thinking about ways to offer it as part of their services. And I think that's actually a good news for somebody like a Circle, because these distributors have choice of doing it on their own, or maybe partnering with somebody like a Circle, or even acquiring somebody like a Circle. So, I think it's Circle. Maybe the reason why Circle share price is so high and people willing to pay like huge multiples is people are anticipating this will come through eventually. Also, another interesting thing to note is that when there was a Wall Street Journal article last week on how Walmart and Amazon is looking into incorporating stablecoin into their service. And when that article came out, Visa and MasterCard share price tanked. They went down like 5% in a day, I think, and hasn't really recovered that much since then. So, crypto industries, there are always so many hypes, and everybody says their technology is innovations, their application is innovation. One way to tell whether something is really an innovation is you look at what happens to those that will be disrupted as a result of their innovation. And if they react like that, you know that that's a real innovation. So I thought that was an interesting observation.
Rick, you have anything to say about this topic?
No, just amusingly listening to everything from Justin Sun to the
Yeah, you don't seem to agree on Justin's son. Have you met him?
No, I haven't met him. Just very interesting. Like the way you described, maybe he was in it for a quick profit, but he's actually now a billionaire and he's trying to do something legit.
Yeah.
The other side of the same coin seems to be finding a way to wash money, like.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great way to turn. And if you combine it with what JX said about potentially dumping TRX and you can't really track that, it's a good way to turn magic internet money and then maybe some illegitimate money held by offshore entities that was the signatory for TUSD's bank account into USD. So it sounds very, could be a really, great effort to legitimize and do something and leave a legacy, or could be a great way to get legit dollars or seemingly legit dollars.
Yeah.
But no shade.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always just one thing, right? So people will do these things unless there's economic incentive. Like, Elon Musk wouldn't build a SpaceX unless he can somehow get compensated for all his efforts, right? So I think there's always two sides to it. And, so many people are just comfortable I think one of the reasons why the crypto projects never really deliver is because one of the reason is, it's not the only reason, but one of the reason is with the liquid, with availability of liquid tokens, people can easily exit, right? So once your holding becomes worth 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, most people think for most people, it's a lot of money. So they're just happy to walk away rather than sit around. Yeah. Rather than sit around and spend hours, sleepless nights trying to build something. It's so tempting for many people, I think. So that's why people end up like, as soon as they raise money, just walk away and nothing happens. I think Justin Sun could have taken that. Yeah. I think Justin Sun could have taken that path also, but he hasn't yet. Right. So, maybe he's not like others in that way.
He's built different. He's in it for the love of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But if anyone's listening to this and has a $10 million exit opportunity, please shoot me a DM because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right.
And also they're kind of legitimizing, not legitimizing the exiting part, but stable coins, which, if you, let's say Amazon or whatever these companies come up with their own stable coins, it would have much more, larger impact in the market. And, it seems like crypto is becoming even more accessible. So people who used to not think about crypto as like an exit strategy or whatever could come and like buy the Amazon stablecoin and like just buy stuff with, they can buy like 6,000 PlayStation 5s and just sell it on the secondary market as new things. Like this is how things work, like how the Indian scammers, they make these old ladies to buy Google App Store like vouchers and then do not redeem the card, that yeah, that kind of stuff. So that's how they do it. So in a way, the US dollar will be more exploited, and I think, but is that bad? Is that a good thing? I don't even know. But I think crypto is coming mainstream in a big way, and scam. It's gonna get. I think we're gonna see a lot more scams based on this thing, in my opinion.
Or scams based on what? The stablecoin?
Yeah, like since it's new technology, people are gonna be like, oh, like these grandmas, they already buy Google Play vouchers and send the code to Indian scammers. Like, like if like these companies issues their own stable coins, they would need to create demand. So how do you create demand? It's just giving out interest, like high interest rates. So let's say I'm an Indian scammer and I say, if you buy this thing and send it to me, I can give double the amount of interest rate that Amazon provides. And, they can be calling these old ladies and creating fake websites. So like new technology always comes with new scams. So yeah.
Sounds like they've thought about this a lot, this strategy.
Yeah. I think about this a lot of times. I watch the, the guy who pranks the scammers. Like I watch it nonstop because you can see a lot of human psychology in there.
Yeah, but I think the way that this thing is going to work on the network like Amazon is not people. My initial impression is that they will incorporate this into their service in such a way that the people don't even know they are using stablecoin. It was like when you do shopping on Amazon and towards the end of it, they will give you an payment option of maybe paying PayPal, credit card, whatever, and then the last one, it would be stablecoin. And from a user's perspective, they wouldn't really be able to tell the difference that much. But the reason that users can benefit from it is if they pay using stablecoin rather than, let's say, Visa, for instance, that extra transaction fees that the network has to pay, like Amazon has to pay, it'll be saved and can be passed down to the end users in the form of some sort of benefit. So that's how I think it's going to happen, I think. So in that case, there's not, the reason why you get these scam scammers into these various other types of crypto assets because you want to attract people to buy and hold it. And that's why you give all these rewards and incentives and airdrops. But that's not how I think these stablecoins on Amazon or Walmart is gonna function. So maybe the risk of that is a little not too high, maybe.
Yeah, I do agree. But, I think a lot of these like self-custody maxi type of people will kind of press on like, Amazon or these companies on, not being able to export your private key if that is the case. So, we'll have to see what happens. I'm genuinely I wouldn't say excited, but I'm looking forward. Like I would like to see how this whole stablecoin thing would roll out. To be honest, I think it's kind of overhyped, to be honest, because like, stablecoins are just $1. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that? So
it's really, I know. I mean, just, what I realized recently is stablecoin has become such a big part of conversation. But this must not be very interesting to our typical crypto degen traders, because their main interest in this space is to buy some coin that can do 10x and 100x. And there's none of that in the stablecoin discussion, right? So maybe it's a boring topic for some people, but it's an important topic in my view, because for the rest of the world outside Web3 degen, and that's a small segment, what stablecoin can really do matter. So I'm more interested in how this technology can change the world rather than 10x, 20x.
Yeah, but I guess that's why people pay premium over fundamentals on Circle, because it's a way to express a stablecoin trade right now. Maybe the very few ways you can really go long stablecoins.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I almost mentioned it but didn't include when I talked about Tron's listing on NASDAQ, because that vehicle can also potentially be the alternative exposure.
Or you do long Circle, short Tron.
No, you can just go long on Tron.
I don't want to go long.
Yeah, because the reason I say
is by principle.
Well, the reason I said is the Tether. What's the most popular chain for Tether issuance? It's Tron. There's more Tether being issued on Tron than Ethereum. So like it or not, Tron has a very large presence in stablecoin market.
USDT to $4. Looking forward for that.
People used to go short USDT, right, on like FTX perps. Do you remember?
Really?
Are there USDT perps now?
No. What's the trade? Just when you're trading at a premium to US dollar?
Because if there's any like DPEG FUD, like a 60 cents, they have 60 cents to a dollar. It doesn't really make sense. It's either worth one or the whole thing's kind of worth zero if you can't redeem. So the risk reward, people would always short USDT perps. The funding was always negative on USDT perps on FTX. So people paying like a good APY to constantly have this like tether put. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's back in the day. But I don't think there are any more.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
was a good conversation. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and see y'all next week with more exciting stablecoin news. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.